I think go for it.
Call the Village of Johnsburg, December 18th, 2018, regular meeting of the President Board of Trustees to order at 7:01. On the roll, Trustee Curry, Thomas Edward. Trustee Hagan?
Here.
Trustee Frost?
Here.
All stand for the pledge, please.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Anybody want to address the board from the floor? On anything that's...
A quick comment.
Yes.
On the SSAs, could they put down where they're located,
Pardon me?
the location of the SSAs?
The subdivisions? Well, we can give you a list of them. It's all the ones that are obligated to, these are all old SSAs, none of them are new. These are the ones that we have to publish every year in order for it to get put on the tax bill and us collect the taxes for them. So it's nothing, none of these are new. These are all stuff that's been approved over the last 10, 15 years, but every year we have to renew them in order to get the tax assessor and the tax collector to collect it on our real estate. So none of them are something new, if that's what you mean. I mean, when you list them all, it says, holy cow, what's going on, right? I get it, but they're all old. They're all old.
Can I ask you one thing? The restaurant, it's really that bad that we gotta burn it down? It's that bad? Because when I worked there, it didn't seem that bad at Chapel Hill.
Well, you left a mess, Cheryl.
Yeah.
No.
The kitchen, the lower level, but...
You know, it's full of mold, full of asbestos and all the stuff that we would have to do. I mean, we had to abate all that stuff just to, the asbestos part of it, just to burn it down. So if it wasn't let go to the point of raccoons and every other critter and the mold.
Yeah, it's been a long time.
I mean, it would have cost us a couple $1 million to put it back together. So at that point, do you need it unless you're going to be in the banquet business and everything else? And maybe a newer structure is probably a better way to go than
Oh, so do you think eventually you'll have another restaurant there, or just...
Probably not another restaurant. They're operating food out of the
19th home?
Right, but, you know, anything's possible. Depends what the market dictates, what would happen there, you know. But there's no plan for that at this time, but there is a plan to maybe put a pavilion out to the east. There's talk about that. And have it available with sides, much like they did at Three Oaks Recreation Center, where you have a fireplace and storage for tables where they can do steak fries and stuff for golf outings.
Now, do you guys have like a pro shop there, or
No.
Nothing?
No, there's just the 19th hole, there's a counter where you can go in and check in.
Not bad.
But you can golf very reasonable there as being a
Right.
village resident, so, okay. All right. Okay. With no comments from the floor, other comments from the floor, can I have a motion to approve the omnibus agenda?
So move that.
We have a motion by Trustee Frost, seconded by Trustee Curry. Anybody want to, discussion on the motion, anything that you would like to remove? No. Trustee Hagan? No?
No.
With there being none on the roll, Trustee Clemson,
Aye.
Trustee Frost,
Aye.
Trustee Hagan, Trustee
Aye.
Curry, motion carried. Yours is done, Fritz, in case you don't wanna,
I'm sorry?
yours is already
You're good.
done, we just
You're
approved it.
Okay.
Okay? I mean, you're welcome to stay, but I just don't want you to think that you're not, unless you got it.
Thank you very much.
Unless you have any comments.
Happy holidays. Thank you, Fritz.
No, I don't. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
No problem, thank you.
Go sell some beer, you were pretty full line.
Happy
holidays, guys.
Happy holidays.
Yeah, thank you. Okay, President's report. I'd like to consent this to appoint Mike McJerzik to the Police Pension Board. That's in the absence that was created by, I can't think of his name right now.
Jeff Warsack.
Jeff Warsack, moving, selling his home, moving. You have to now be certified. Mike is certified because he's on the Fire District's pension board, so, he has, like to, help us out in that position, so. I'd like the board to just, nod your head saying, yes,
Yep.
we're going to vote on it.
We're good,
Don't have a
yep.
problem with
Yep.
it, and that will be done. The other thing is I'd like to have consensus on the, increased amount of the McBride agreement. It's still less than what we originally thought it was going to be. I think that information Claude shared to you and explained it in a memo. I just want to make sure, because we couldn't put it on the agenda, but if everybody's okay with it, I'll sign it, send it back, and we'll approve it at the next meeting. Does anybody want to have a discussion or have a problem with that?
I have a question on that. How did they determine the financial need category portion? I just was wondering how they did that. That's the only thing I had a question
It's
on.
predicated on the total cost, and then it's based on per capita.
I saw that, I understand. So how do they determine what category we're in? Like,
I
obviously,
think
the
the
Crystal Lake,
category is,
they don't need any help,
that's-
like Harvard needs more than us.
I think that's dictated by medium income.
Medium income, okay. That's my
Medium
question.
income.
Thanks, Ed.
Your medium income is below a certain point, then you're in the,
You pay less per.
you pay less.
Okay.
Right, because they actually get some subsidies
Hmm.
that provide it, so it has to meet the qualifications for subsidies.
That makes sense. Thank you.
Okay, and with that, let's have a motion discussion, move to approve ordinance 18, oh, sorry, new business, I'm sorry.
The meeting date changed.
Okay, yes.
Or not
So in
changed.
January, the zoning meeting we want to have here because it was very loud at the community club. Tom was there, it was hard to hear, and I think it's better here. We don't get a huge crowd. We went to the community club because we thought we'd have a ton of people, but I think can more than handle the crowd here. So, the zoning meeting is scheduled on the school matter for Tuesday the 8th. Okay, that's our regular meeting night.
No, that's their regular meeting night. Our regular
Oh, yeah,
meeting night
his-
is January
ours is New
1st.
Year's Day
Yeah.
here. So that's their regular meeting night. So what I'd like to do is keep the 15th, 22nd, and 29th open, in case we need to have a meeting.
We'll definitely have the one on the 15th, that's our normal
That's a
meeting
normal
night.
day.
Right.
And then we'll figure out the 22nd.
If we need the 22nd and 29th. Right. And if we don't need those, because the 29th we'll have one the next week anyways. Okay? So I don't want to disappoint you by not having enough meetings. Okay? I forgot about the meetings, I didn't write it down.
The first is regular, everything was zoning, if you're interested in this.
Okay, now, move to approve ordinance 18-19-32, an ordinance for the levy of taxes for the village of Johnsburg, McHenry County, Illinois, for tax year 2018. Can we have a motion, a second, and then we'll have discussion?
I'll make a motion.
Motion by trustee Hagan, seconded. Trustee Frost. Okay, discussion on the motion. Did you see what was the recommendation of the
Yeah.
finance committee?
Can I talk about that in a quick or so?
Yes, please.
Yeah, thanks. So the finance committee is actually what we did last year, we are telling you guys to go out. Our recommendations for new growth plus CPI. The new growth, the CPI portion, we'd like to apply that towards the police pension, because obviously the deficit gets larger and larger every year. So, we're gonna have discussion on the board on that, not sure how everybody's gonna feel, but every year when we bring this up, we just keep looking at what we have to pay towards the police pension. And, it is only, what, $18,000, something like that with a difference or so, but we're suggesting to do that.
Have you guys looked at the numbers? I know when we did the budget presentation, Kim was saying how much we've caught up on the police pension, and I know we're doing good. So have you guys looked to see how much this will help every year?
I mean, it'll help a little bit, it's
Just a little
$18,000,
bit.
yeah, we're still, 200,000 off. I mean, it's gonna help once we get Paul Mark's abatement back. We did benefit this year on police pension because we did get some younger officers coming in, some came off, so then obviously you're pushing
Right.
kicking the can down the road a little farther on that end too. So we're a little better than we anticipated because of the changes, but at the same time too, we're realizing this, given what might happen in the economy or anything else too, with income tax or anything else too, we're just suggesting new growth plus CPI.
Right.
I don't know, I still have a hard time increasing the CPI. I mean, there's no doubt about it that the number one thing is raising taxes, and the people who are tax taxed and taxed, and I mean, don't have any problem recapturing the new growth, but I don't think we ought to be raising the CPI.
Sure.
We are gaining on the police pension, we're improving on it, and we knew that it wasn't our fault. We
Yep.
budgeted fully, and some, schmuck down there was still using the tables from 1981, thinking we're gonna get 15 or 18% interest, and I don't think it's, I really think the climate out there is, tighten the belt, and we have to live without that, taxing, raising the CPI on the existing residents. New growth, I have no problem with. I mean, you gotta collect that, I mean, they should pay what everybody else does, but that's just my opinion, So,
Did you have something?
anybody else had a,
Well, I just, the only thing, and from a business perspective, if you don't increase your revenue by the CPI, the reality of the situation is you are reducing your revenue by the CPI every year.
we understand that, we've gone through that the last 3 years,
And
10
that's,
times.
and, correct, and that's what I'm pointing out, and whatever I just, I understand, but basically what you are then voting for is in reality a tax cut, which is fine, but just, that's what you're really doing, because in business, what I find out, and I'm a victim of it, so that's what I pointed out, is if you continuously eat the rate of inflation for multiple years, when at some point in time you're forced to raise your revenue in order to get back up to something that's profitable,
That's where we have to think out of the box.
you just have to raise it with big steps. And then everybody flips out because it's not 3%, it's 12% because you haven't done it for the last 4 years. And I just, like I'm just saying, is that's the only pitfall to not capturing the CPI every year. But
When the environment changes a little bit, I mean, the economy is picking up, but it still is not that wonderful, let's face it, and it's not at all wonderful in the state of Illinois.
like I said, but basically what you're doing then is cutting
I get it.
village revenue. And that's great if you guys can do it.
Yeah, we encourage that to look at other revenue sources then too, or we have to look at the budget when we come back in May again and say, hey, this is the revenue source coming in, so we want to have a balanced budget. So I see it either way. I don't want more taxation. I sell properties for a living, so I know property taxes are a killer for values of housing, so adding any additional tax is going to put a burden on people and puts the excess burden on too.
I'd rather see a way of getting new growth into the community, and I think by increasing taxes, we're not gonna get it. I think we ought to hold the line. I understand taxing the new growth, they gotta be taxed just like everybody else.
How many years have we held the line with this?
This would be the fourth year.
Yeah. We have to capture the growth. If we don't capture it, then we lose it, right?
We lose it.
So you have to, at least, if you don't capture the growth,
Mhm.
then we lose that too. And there has been some growth residentially this last year.
I mean, if we were, moving people in right and left, and everything was going great, and, the all indications is that the housing, deal is not gonna be as worse as the last time, but it is gonna slow down, that's what they're all saying, if you read any trade magazines, so, if that happens, it may be tough on a lot of our people that are blue collar workers. Mr. Curry? Tom, Edward, you're shaking your head.
Blue collar workers.
You got a comment on it?
No. No, I feel the same way. I think we need to hold it. I'm open to talking about it more, but
Yeah, you lose that increase forever is what I think Rick's trying to say.
yeah.
Well, it changes, it's exactly the same in our business. If you don't keep up with it, then it just gets away from you, and then suddenly you have to do some big increase that everybody really dislikes.
Well, I don't.
And I mean, they don't realize that you didn't raise prices for the last 4 years to try and hold it.
But we're not at a point, I don't feel like we're at a point where it's starting to get away from us, so.
Not yet, I don't think.
No, I don't think
Personally, I
it is
don't
either.
think we are, but I think in the next couple of years,
Well, we might have to look at it next year. Maybe next year's a different year where we, you know, maybe we have some new development and some new things going on. I just think we want to promote it before we raise taxes. You know, we want to keep things moving in a positive direction. I think we've done a good job at that. You know, I talked to Claudette earlier. I think that, you know, maybe there's some other, and I don't want to discourage businesses from opening up or anything, but, you know, what is our liquor licenses compared to everybody else's? And now that they all have gaming machines, is there, you know, are we in line there, you know? And maybe look at some of those other things. Not to tax the business guy anymore, but just to keep us in line, you know, because maybe we're $200-300 cheaper on some of those, and maybe they should be up, and we should be giving, you know, we can't raise the gaming because we're not home rule. Everybody, you know, your home rule communities around us are charging $500 for a gaming license, and what do we get, $75 per machine. So if we're low on the other end, we should get maybe more on that end. Not that that's going to make up the 3% that we get on the CPI, but it's, you know, we're talking about keeping up with things, I think.
We do benefit from the EAV going up too, so that's helping us. We just gotta be aware of that, that's.
The assessed valuation.
Yeah, that keeps going up, so it's kind of a double taxation when you look at how that goes up. So as your house value goes up, I think the average was around 6% that area, it assessed people in the area. So 6.2%, I think. So if we're seeing that, they are gonna naturally get more money that way as well too. But we have to be aware if properties value do fall again, then it could be, if we don't have a high enough mill rate, we could have problems and we can't tax without going for referendum, because we're not home rule as well.
My point was, if you guys vote to not take the CPI, which I think that you probably can do because the additional revenue is coming in. But what I'm trying to point, the only point I was making to you is, you're not voting to keep it the same. You're
Right.
voting to actually decrease taxes by the CPI. That was the point I was trying to make. Because if you guys keep it stagnant, it's not the flat tax. The reality
You're
is,
reducing it.
from the
Right,
village's
right.
perspective, you're reducing
Right.
the buying power of the revenue by the CPI.
Right, 'cause
So it's
inflation's
actually a
going up.
tax
Yep.
cut. You're actually benefiting the residents by not increasing it with inflation. That's the point I was trying to make.
No, it's a very good explanation. And I think for this point, everybody's been around long enough that they understand it, you know? Okay. So, we had a motion, didn't we?
I don't know if we had said what portion of how we're gonna do it though.
Yeah, I think you guys need to articulate what,
Something that's amended or whatever, to which
Amended.
category, the 4 categories or whatever, it's put on that slide, I think, or so.
yeah, well,
Or the
yeah,
one
the
or-
ordinance she gave me is either new growth or new
Yeah,
growth and CPI.
So leave one, probably voted for.
So do you want to make a recommendation?
Sure, I'll make the recommendation with the finance committee, as I don't know if that'll apply, but I'll make a recommendation for new growth plus CPI.
So that's the motion that they're voting on, is to include CPI, just so
Yeah.
everyone's clear on that.
Right.
Is there a second? He's made a motion, so we need a...
Well, we have a motion and a second on the floor already. I think we were just trying to clarify what that motion
That was
is.
correct, that wasn't mine, but that's what I
Yeah.
was throwing out there.
Trustee Hagan made the original motion.
He wants to amend it, maybe?
Yeah, I would like my motion to be for new growth only.
Okay.
Okay.
And I'm sorry, Josh, would you, just new growth
New
only?
growth only.
Only, new growth only, okay. And then the second was by Mr. Faust. So I don't know if you want us to amend this, to clarify that.
I'll second it, Joshua's motion.
So what we're doing is Josh is
Make a motion.
new growth only,
Correct.
capture the new growth, no CPI adjustment. And Kyle is seconding that motion. Okay, is there any further discussion on that motion or questions? With there being none, on the roll, trustee Klumsberg.
Aye. Trustee Ross. Aye. Trustee Hagan. Aye. Trustee Curry. Aye. Do I have to vote on that one?
No.
Motion carried.
Okay. Committee reports. Tom, you had a very successful parade considering
We got wet, but it was fun.
weather. We couldn't have worse wet weather, I don't think.
Yeah, that's all right. It was fun. Looking forward to doing it again next year, so, it's quiet right now. We're gonna do our family skate night, in January.
What day is that?
That is constantly changing.
Constantly changing.
No, it just changes
Weather.
every year because of the weather.
Weather related, probably,
We're
right?
waiting
Weather
for
rain day.
Yeah, January 19th is, the
Community
day
skate
we're,
night?
yeah, planning on it.
Or two.
Yeah, it's, you know, it'll be a beautiful day and probably raining.
What time are you figuring on doing that?
3:30.
Oh, in the afternoon, huh?
Yeah.
Okay. No, I think the parade was a success.
Yeah, it's fun.
Considering the weather was that terrible, people standing out there, it was fun. Josh?
We didn't meet last month, but we're meeting tomorrow. We're gonna go over the website updates that we've made. Tim and I have been working a lot on just trying to get content on there that we think will be useful. So the biggest thing that we're working on, spending a lot of time on, is property search, commercial property search for people looking to move in. So we're getting some information on that, we're getting some maps together, so I'm just trying to make all this information available so if somebody comes to the site, they don't have to call us necessarily for basic information. They can get their first steps out of the way there and then come to us for more information.
Good.
We didn't have much. We talked about the website. One of our committee members actually put together a little 6-7 questionnaire we'd like to, pose to you guys, maybe put on the website to get some good feedback on how easy it is to use and what we're missing. Besides that, I don't think we're not gonna have a meeting in December due to the holidays, so we're kinda slow.
You got anything further you would like?
I do, but we'll probably have more excitement in the new year with my stuff, so, we did table this month, we were looking at the sewer and water rates, so we're looking at that, but we had a very exciting meeting with Waste Management, so I don't wanna spill the beans too much on that coming in the future, but they've approached us with something different for changes in rates, so, but that will probably come in front of the board, just like the zoning and planning stuff as well.
Rick, do you have anything further? Tim?
They are going to attempt to put the fence up on the Sledding Hill January 3rd and 4th. They were shooting for this week, but it's more than a one-day job. They have a one-day window tomorrow, and we don't want to be left with just posts there and no safety fence. So January 3rd will be here, stay here till it's up and done. So then working with Davey and the local farmers to get some bales of straw around the light poles, the basketball hoop, and up the side. Hopefully it snows.
Let it snow.
Let it snow.
Let it snow.
And Claudette has all the signs and all the, all that on there, so it'll be ready to roll, so.
That Chief, most popular guy in town.
You gotta have something, you always
Yeah,
have
you
something.
gotta have something.
Make something up.
Any good direction?
Yeah, Shop with a Cop was great. It
Oh,
was
it
last
was,
Tuesday.
yeah.
And the CPA class will start at the end of January, first week of February.
Okay.
It's not there, I still have one or two spots.
CPR, right?
CPR?
No.
Police
Citizen Police
Academy.
Academy.
Oh,
Citizen Police
okay.
Academy.
Okay, yeah, that's great, thanks.
I should know that one.
You should.
Yeah. You have a graduate.
You're gonna get certificate taken.
First class.
First class. Okay.
Can I go?
With there being nothing else, can then we entertain a motion to adjourn?
I'll make a motion.
Who? Oh,
Okay.
They're simultaneous.
Josh Hagan, seconded by trustee Frost on the roll. Trustee Flanstein.
Aye.
Trustee
Aye.
Frost. Trustee.
Aye.
And trustee Crosby.
Can I get your signature?
Yeah.